So we apparently got new neighbors above us. We're on the second floor, and so far it has been quiet up there because no one's lived there, but I think they're moving in right now, and they may have approximately 10,000 children from the sounds of it. So if you hear what sounds like murder happening above me, then that is probably them, and this might have to be a reality of my videos from now on. I've turned into one of those YouTubers that is gonna have to, like, film around their neighbors. I love this apartment, so it's fine, but I'm a little nervous. This is their move-in day, and it's very, very loud. So I might have to be looking into soundproofing of some kind in this room, because it's loud. Hey guys, it's Sam, and I have a very exciting announcement that a lot of you have been waiting for some time. And that is the 6th round of the Tome Topple Readathon. So as many of you know, Tome Topple is a readathon centered around reading big books over 500 pages. We haven't had a round for a little while, I think last fall, and a lot of you have been borderline nagging me about it, and I get it, but also, do you understand how busy I am? I really wanted to have a round of Tome Topple that I could participate in, because the last couple rounds I haven't really been able to even participate in my own readathon, and it's a little very sad that happens, and I just wanted to be able to participate, but a lot of you guys have been asking for it, and I've wanted to do a round of Tome Topple, so I asked some of the other co-hosts about what times and dates worked for them throughout this summer, and this is what we've decided on, because we've all been very busy. I'm sorry, you guys, but like, I know you guys were really excited, and that makes me excited that Tome Topple is so well loved, but it was very overwhelming to get so many messages when I was like in the middle of moving, doing my internship, doing grad school, working full-time, all this stuff, and I'm like, I talk about how busy I am all the time. I'm dying. But that will soon be in the past, and Tome Topple will hopefully be able to happen the regularly scheduled 3 to 4 times a year that we usually have it. So this round is going from June 29th until June 12th. Tome Topple is always a 2-week long readathon because we are reading big books, and we're just really focusing on a couple of big books, most of us, in our TBRs, so we like to have a longer time span to participate. So that is midnight in your time zone on June 29th until 11:59 p.m. in your time zone on July 12th. And like I said, the only rule for Tome Topple is that the books you read be over 500 pages long. So there does tend to be a little bit of confusion about this sometimes, but overall, don't beat yourself up and be too crazy about some of this stuff. I've gotten people messaging me before being like, oh, the book I want to read is 499 pages. You're fine. So use your judgment, but overall, if any of the versions of a book, whether it's an ebook or the UK version, the US version, another country, whatever, if any version of a book is over 500 pages somewhere, then that book is one that you can read. It doesn't count as far as like large text books, like large print, that's different, and that would obviously change things. Like if your standard print book, either whether it's ebook, UK version, US version, paperback, hardcover, whatever, is one of them is over 500 pages, it counts. Now this does not count for short story collections. I've gotten a lot of people annoyed with me about this over the years, but ultimately short story collections are way easier to read. They're way less intimidating for people to be able to break up into smaller chunks because the work itself is not one long giant thing. So we do not include short story collections. We do include graphic novel bind-ups, so like those big omnibuses, just specifically because we have a graphic novel category for the challenges. But again, the challenges don't actually matter. It's just an easier way to pick your TBR, but like the graphic novel thing counts because there's not a ton of graphic novels that are over 500 pages. The audiobook version of a book also counts. Again, if any of the other physical copies are over 500 pages, you can definitely listen to the book on audio, and that does count for Tome Topple. But ultimately, this is supposed to be fun, and no one is going to be policing the books that you read for Tome Topple, so if you want to read a book that's like 487 pages, you do you, man. Like, I'm not gonna find you and come after you, you know? Like, I don't know what you're up to. Feel free. Like, if that book's been really intimidating and it's the only book that you own that's that long and you want to read it, like, go ahead, man. I mean, I feel like anything under like 475 is like Guys, you're like missing the point. But anyway, I love Tome Topple, and I haven't really been able to focus on my big books on my shelf either, which is why I was like, okay, I'm taking 2 classes and I'm just about to graduate in August, and I want to die, but I want to do some Tome Topple, so that's why we're doing this. So we have some returning co-hosts for Tome Topple. We have Adriana of Perpetual Pages, Sarah Jane from The Book Life, Sean of Reader's Rambles, and Katrina from Little Book Owl. We will all be running reading sprints throughout the 2-week time period, so you can follow us at Tome_Topple on Twitter and also use the Tome Topple hashtag, but we'll be running sprints on that Twitter. We do not have a regular sprint schedule. I understand recently that some other readathons have started having like a regular sprint schedule, and we coordinate together using a Google Doc, but there's not like a set like, oh, you're always going to be running a sprint during this time. Like, we all have really busy schedules. We really can't do that and be present and participate for that. So we will have sprints usually every day, but it's going to be at varying times. But we do announce and let you guys know, like, hey, this person's coming up next at this time. We give you a little bit of warning. We let you know. So just keep your eye on the Tome Topple Twitter and you will know when different sprints are coming up. Like I said, we like to run multiple a day, but there's never going to be a set. We're doing this from 12 to 2 Eastern Standard Time every single day. Like, that's not what this readathon's about. This readathon is supposed to be fun and chill and not super intimidating, because big books are already super intimidating to a lot of people, so we don't want to put any more pressure on people. Sprints are not mandatory. Sprints are supposed to be fun, and we do have some challenges that you can participate in for your TBR choosing to help you choose your TBR, but again, those are not mandatory. There is no reward or point system for it. It's just something fun to do if you want to. So those challenges are: read more than 1 tome, so read more than 1 book over 500 pages. Read a graphic novel, again, those omnibuses count. Read a book that is part of a series. Buddy read a tome, and that is where the Goodreads group comes in. So we do have a Goodreads group, it'll be linked down below, and you can go on there, and there's different books that are popular during Tome Topple that we end up setting up groups for, and you guys can all buddy read in there if you want to, or you can use the hashtags to find a buddy read. So people, again, talk in the Tome Topple hashtag, or they'll use like TT A Song of Ice and Fire, TT Outlander, to kind of have these more popular big books being talked about, and then you can find a buddy for that. And then the last challenge is to read an adult book. So not a children's book, not a middle grade book, not a YA book, a book in the adult genre. There will also be Instagram photo challenges happening. Again, nothing, no reward system or anything, no points, but just a fun way to participate and show off your big book, show off what you're reading, everything else. So those will be listed right before the readathon on my Instagram. So my Instagram is always linked down below, and I post that, and you guys can see the schedule of what days are what photos and stuff like that. It's fun. It gets you back into the Bookstagram. I know some of us need a little bit of motivation to get back into the Bookstagram, so it's a fun way to kind of bring that in as well. And that is it for this round of Tome Topple. If you can't participate, like I mentioned, there will be more rounds of Tome Topple. We usually do them 3 to 4 times a year, and now that school is almost done for me, I can return to my regularly scheduled programming and doing fun things again. So I figure after this one, the next one usually ends up happening late November, early December time. So that people have enough time before the end of the year if they're trying to squeeze more books in. So that usually ends up being when we have it next, if you can't for some reason participate this round, but I hope that you can. So for my TBR, I am very up in the air about some things that I want to read. I'm currently reading a book over 500 pages, but since it's only the middle of June right now, I'm hoping that will be done. There's a good chance it won't be though, because of, again, my schedule. But I would really like to get to The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is an adult fantasy book, and it's part of a series, so that covers those challenges, but ultimately this is just a book that I've wanted to read for a while. It is on my yearly TBR, well, my half-year TBR, because I've broken my TBR into 2 chunks this year, and so this was on my first half of the year TBR goals, and I really want to get to it. Ken Liu calls this a silk punk epic fantasy, so this is an epic fantasy that is based on Chinese history and folklore and mythology instead of the traditional fantasy that's inspired by like medieval Europe. So I've heard really good things about this. Some mixed reviews since I mentioned that I wanted to read this at the beginning of the year. I've heard a couple mixed things, but ultimately I hear mostly positive things and I want to read it. So hopefully I will get to this. It is a chunk, and it comes in at 618 pages. The other read I'm hoping to get to is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is a historical fiction that I've actually already started on audio, but I only got a little, like 10% of the way into it, and then I had to return it to my library. So I'm either going to listen to this on audio and continue that, or just continue it in the physical copy. But again, this is a historical fiction. It follows a heir to like a wealthy family who is taking a road trip around Europe with his best friend who he's also in love with and his sister. He's a bisexual boy and I believe his best friend is gay, but I'm not sure. I haven't gotten quite far enough into it yet to really know. And they are just having like a whirlwind sort of summer trip and everything. But this is going to be very fun and fast paced and kind of offset how heavy the other book is going to be, I think. So either this is going to be an audiobook read or a physical copy read. And then if I do end up listening to Gentleman's Guide on audio and I need another physical book to read, I will at least start, hopefully, Caliban's War by James S. A. Corey, which is the second book in the Expanse series, and it's a science fiction series, space opera, one I've been really wanting to get to and I've been holding on to for a tome topple, which I tell myself I shouldn't do, but I still do anyway. So this, again, is very different from the other ones and will kind of give me a whole broad range of things to choose from depending on my mood when Tome Topple actually starts. So that is it for my TBR. Comment down below, let me know if you will be participating in Tome Topple and what you plan on reading. Thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!